All right, guys. So yesterday we read through the article, and there were some specific things mentioned in the article that I wanted to go over with you today and make sure we understood them. And I'm not there today, so this is what you get. There are two different parts of the article that we need to pay attention to. There are parts of the article related to government action, and then there are parts of the article related to the historical context, to the historical connection. So, just to review the article, Trump signed an executive order that repealed several of the amendments in the Bill of Rights. And there were some elements of this that we need to make sure we understand. So, the first one is, and you're going to have a blank web map that looks just like this, okay? It should be on your desk. And I want you to fill these in and use the resources that are provided to you to read and learn about each of these. I'm not there today to teach them to you. We can't really afford just losing a day. So use those resources and then use the spaces on this map to understand and explain what each of these is. So the first one deals with executive orders. Wow, that is really bad. So I'm just going to erase that. All right. So the first one, let's try this again, deals with executive orders. Now, obviously, I'm writing really large. You should write really small. A second part of this, in terms of government actions, that was alluded to in the article is judicial review. Okay. A third is understanding impeachment. And the fourth is constituent advocacy. Okay, so the four parts in terms of actions, and we saw these in the article itself. We see that Trump issued an executive order. So, what is an executive order? How does that work? Why is the president able to make one of those? Then we see the ACLU file a lawsuit to get this in the court system. And what they're hoping for is what's called judicial review, where the courts can determine an action of the president or Congress and determine whether it's constitutional or not. Third, we see the issue of impeachment brought up and whether this is an impeachable offense, and there is a process to this. And then fourth, we see in Nancy Pelosi's comment, constituency advocacy. And this is you, the people, taking action and communicating with your representatives so that action will be taken. They will stand up for you as your representatives. So these are the four things that you need to know about, and I'm not there today. So use the resources that I provided to you. I've provided you with some summaries. I have underlined and annotated some of the resources to save you time so you don't have to read everything, but I want to draw your attention to some important parts of this. Okay? The other part of this is, and I'm going to see if I can do this here without absolutely messing everything up, is understanding the historical context. Okay, so what I mean by the historical context is, number one, in the article we saw Schenck v. U.S. Okay, and this was the Supreme Court case that Trump referenced in terms of the court's decision to suppress freedom of speech during wartime. Now, the basis for Schenck v. U.S. was actually, and I did mention it in class, was called the Espionage Act of 1917. And we did not go into the detail on that. Okay, so I provided you again with some resources explaining what the Espionage Act of 1917 actually did. It was a federal law. And then the third piece that we need to understand, and this is somewhat related to Schenck v. U.S., is the idea that came out of this in the opinion called clear and present danger. Oops, helps if you spell it right. So clear and present danger. And again, I have given you resources on all of these things, and I know it seems overwhelming. I'm not there to kind of simplify some things, but this is really what we need to understand today. So use the resources that I gave you. Do your best to read them, to make sense out of them, and use the blank web organizer that I gave you. It looks just like this. And in each of the blocks, explain what these are. Today, your goal is just to get an understanding of the significance of each of these things and how they are related to Trump's executive order. Tomorrow, when I come back, providing my son feels better, then we will help make sense of this. We'll piece some things together and we'll understand what we can do with it. But for today, your goal, your objective is to understand each of these items as it relates to Trump's executive order. Understand the government context and understand the historical context so you can really see the significance of the article. Okay? Work hard, stay focused. I will see you tomorrow.